It would be the case, coming out of the locker room right now. But in the case of Christian Laettner, you start with Kareem Jabbar in regard to Final Four history and NCAA history. Our own Bill Walton has to fit in there, but this young man has to be right up there with that in the threesome. Notice there's 10 seconds on the clock, and here's what Duke does better than anybody in college basketball. A double-O post down inside, the ball in Grant Hill's hands. Any one of the foremen in the double-O can come out and score, and they're all effective. In this case, it's Thomas Hill. Watch Grant Hill getting the ball. Thomas Hill makes the good move and scores. Duke really knows how to utilize that clock.
Hey, Billy, here comes Bobby Knight now. Coming back to the Final Four for the first time since 1987, when he won the national championship for the Hoosiers, his third title. How about some Packer points for this one?
Now, Jim, there are a number of things going to be important, but the first thing is 2-on-1. Bobby Hurley, who is such a durable player, is going to face both Meeks and Reynolds today. That could be tough on him. The next thing is problem in the paint, and that's an Indiana problem because Christian Laettner will be roaming down there very well. Nover has his hands full. Number 3, some like it hot, and I'm talking about Indiana there. They have been shooting at a torrid pace so far in the tournament. And the fourth thing, destiny rides again. Indiana, 1976, against who? Michigan, the Final Four. Nobody has been a #1 ranked team since '82 and won a national championship. A lot of destiny in this game.
Who will play Michigan Monday night? We'll find out right after this. Indiana and Duke are next, and it's time for the starting lineups. Here is the voice of the Final Four, courtside, Frank Fallon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Metrodome for tonight's game between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Duke Blue Devils. And now let's meet the starting lineups. For Indiana at forward, a 6'6" junior from Evansville, Indiana, number 40, Calvert Chaney. For Duke at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, number 21, Antonio Lang. For Indiana at forward, a 6'9" freshman from Carmel, Indiana, number 44, Alan Henderson. For Duke at forward, a 6'7" senior from Capitol Heights, Maryland, number 23, Brian Davis. For Indiana at center, a 6'8" junior from Chesterton, Indiana, number 24, Matt Nover. For Duke at center, a 6'11" senior from Angola, New York, number 32, Christian Laettner. For Indiana at guard, a 6' junior from Peoria, Illinois, number 21, Chris Reynolds. For Duke at guard, a 6'5" junior from Lancaster, Texas, number 12, Thomas Hill. For Indiana at guard, a 6'3" sophomore from Heltonville, Indiana, number 22, Damon Bailey. For Duke at guard, a 6' junior from Jersey City, New Jersey, number 11, Bobby Hurley. And the coach of Indiana in his 21st season, Bobby Knight. And the coach of Duke in his 12th season, Mike Krzyzewski.
Let's get a report now from Leslie Visser. Take it away, Leslie.
Jim, Christian Laettner, who is the king of buzzer beaters, some have called him the yuppie assassin, said he hopes the Blue Devils have a little more tournament luck left in their gym bag. He just told me that he doesn't see himself hitting the winning shot at the last second tonight. He hopes it won't be necessary. Jim?
Well, he did it last week against Kentucky as a sophomore in the East Regional Final against UConn. And the first time he ever experienced a buzzer beater was his senior year in high school, in a high school tournament in Ocala, Florida. His team had traveled down there, and he hit a shot at the last second. So 3 times fate has been in his hands, and he's delivered all 3. The student, the pupil, and the mentor.
Jim, that's not the only student Bob Knight had in the NCAA tournament this year. Joby Wright and Jim Cruz also took teams that he was so proud of their ball clubs in the NCAA tournament.
Officials, Tim Higgins from Ramsey, New Jersey, Ted Valentine, Westerville, Ohio, John Clockerty, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Gene Monge is the alternate from Henrietta, New York. Billy, when was the last time there was a semifinal game with this much buildup?
Well, when you consider the coaching matchup, the quality of the teams, and what's on the line with Duke trying to repeat, I can't remember one, Jim. Even considering last year's Vegas team trying to repeat. Not quite the same as here. Might have to go back to 1973 with that, 1974 with NC State UCLA.
Push off on Thomas Hill. Hit with a quick one.
Duke picking up early here. Ryan Davis, Calbert Chaney. That's going to be an interesting one. Great defender and an excellent offensive player.
Zipping it inside to Chaney.
Excellent bounce pass. Bailey. Now, Bailey may be listed at 6'2", but he's an excellent post-up player. Knows how to get shots off inside. And here's that 2-on-1. It's going to be Reynolds on Hurley for a while. Meeks in the wings. And Nover only has one job, Jim. He doesn't have to worry about scoring, passing. Just set screens and guard late.
Hill rejected by Henderson. Davis with a good fight. Count it, and he'll shoot one.
Good quickness off the boards, and that was done with Christian Laettner standing at half court. So it was Lang, Davis, and Hill that kept the ball alive. Good block by Chaney. Well, that was Henderson that got the block. You can see Henderson coming over. He was inside on Lang, did a good job, but Hill kept it alive. And then Duke gets 3 more tries by keeping the ball alive. Davis scores.
Henderson's first foul. Davis, the only player on Duke to start every game this year. Senior co-captain with Laettner gives Duke the 3-2 lead.
Looks like Duke, by picking up early defensively, is trying to force a little quicker tempo and not play Indiana strictly a half-court game.
Hurley takes it away. Tough pass inside.
Well, there was a good back screen for Bailey to be open.
Laettner gets by Nover. Misses the soft push. Here comes Damon Bailey. Sets up Chaney. 3-point shot. In and out. Henderson. This is an outstanding freshman, folks. Alan Henderson scoring on the inside on the second chance.
Jim, he got sick midway through the season, lost about 12, 14 pounds. That sapped up his strength, but he is so much stronger now and has really boarded well in the NCAA tournament. Chaney laying off Thomas Hill to try to give out some help. Laettner inside.
Hill, 3, right back.
Well, there was a play made by Bob Knight in regard to his scouting report, and Hill answered the challenge.
One thing, if you're Hurley and you're playing against Reynolds, you don't worry about him shooting that perimeter shot. He rarely takes it. Chaney, he was hit on the way up. Davis, his first, put Chaney on the line for 2. You know, one of the things that has really helped turn Indiana around after losing 2 of its last 3 regular season games to Michigan and Purdue is a couple of players have stepped up in the leadership department. Chris Reynolds is one, Calbert Chaney's another.
Well, shot selection is so important if you're going to play for Indiana. I think back and listening to Scott May, he said by the junior year, I knew the shot I wanted, and I worked until I got that shot as opposed to what the defense gave me. And that's what Chaney is learning now and making him so tough.
Chaney misses them both.
No block out on Nover.
Bailey inside the 3-point line. That's a 2.
Good looking release on his jumper. He squares up nicely on that shot.
Tied at 6. Laettner.
Oh, Nover got a piece.
And Reynolds hangs out, gets the rebound. Bounces it over to Henderson. Reynolds.
Turn it over, Jim.
No, they're calling a foul on Nover underneath. He might have carried it.
Yeah, illegal screen he called.
So the first on Nover, the second on Indiana.
So far, Christian Leitner has not been able to get on track on Nover. He's had the shots, but they haven't gone.
0 for 2 for Leitner in the early going.
There's that double low post we diagrammed at the start of the show. Nothing for Hill. They'll give Lang that shot.
No one cut to the pass. Little miscommunication. Duke.
Well, Jim, Bobby Hurley last year in the 6 NCAA tournament games only turned the ball over 10 times total. He has turned it over now 15 times in the last 2 games.
Henderson over Leitner. Gets the roll.
Good delay on that shot. Leitner was there for the block.
8-6 Indiana.
Boy, Leitner has got what looks like about 3 inches on Nover.
Lang missing. Cheney bringing it down for Indiana. And here's Bailey.
Nice dribbling by Bailey.
Antonio Lang making contact.
Excellent pump fake by Henderson on Lang. Lang probably a little frustrated on the shot that he missed on the other end.
Here comes Grant Hill in for Davis. That was the first foul against Antonio Lang. And Cherokee Parks taking the warm-ups off early.
He's coming in for Lang. That makes Duke awful big here.
You got 6'11" Leitner and 6'11" Parks.
Oh, what a block. Another good block. Grant Hill from behind. Calvert Cheney thought he had that one easy.
Henderson gives it up to Cheney. Great play by the freshman. Henderson, there he is. To give it up to Cheney.
You're absolutely right, Jim. The last time he penetrated for his own shot, this time he penetrated for the dish.
Hurley. Three-pointer, Duke's second.
He seems to make a habit of hitting threes at a time that are so critical for his ball club.
Well, he hit the big one last year, down 5 with 2 minutes to go against UNLV.
Hit the big one against Kentucky the other night. Good double team.
Thomas Hill strips it away. Bounce pass to Parks.
Good
Great
catch.
There's an assist for you, Bobby Hurley.
Now there's a young man who really struggled the second part of the season coming off of that ankle injury that kept him out of the Michigan game for the first time.
Speaking of Cherokee Parks, there's a 3, Alan Henderson. 7 points already for Henderson, and Indiana has the 2-point lead, 13-11. Leitner missing a 3.
Well, I didn't think that was his shot. A little impatient there. He's got the low post. Put one up that he didn't want.
An official's timeout.
Getting to know.
Eric Anderson's had a big tournament. He comes in now off the bench along with Jamal Meeks. And Greg Graham, number 20, takes the inbounds pass. 3 players off the bench for the Hoosiers. 13-11 lead, Indiana.
Leitner picking it up now on Anderson. It'll be interesting down the other end of the floor. Bob Knight got great defensive play out of Matt Nover on Leitner, who has not yet scored in the game. It'll be interesting to see who he matches up. It'll probably be Anderson with him on the other end.
Cheney swings it over to an open Meeks. He stepped on the line when he received the pass.
Now that's a shot that Duke will probably give Meeks all night long, even if he hadn't stepped out of bounds. And here's that 2-on-1. Now it's going to be Meeks on Hurley for a while. And it's going to be Henderson on Leitner, not Anderson.
Inside Parks.
You know,
Graham out-battles Leitner that time for the rebound.
Leitner has not only not scored, Jim, he has not gotten anything off the boards.
Henderson over Leitner. Henderson now with 9. Hurley.
Wow.
Nails his second one of the game.
Bobby Hurley really took a setback when he hurt that ankle in the North Carolina game. Had to sit out a number of games. He's probably just coming back to full strength and conditioning now.
That's going to be a turnover. Anderson over the head of Cheney. Antonio Lang comes back in for Leitner. Leitner's 147th college game today. That ties him with Danny Manning. No other players have ever played in more college games than Danny Manning and Christian Leitner.
Bob Knight rotating his 3 big men. Now Nover back in. Leitner sits.
Skip pass. Hurley. Parks had it taken out of his hands by Cheney.
Somebody's got to be open in this Nover. Parks tried to help on a double team.
Meeks on the drive. Oh.
Beat Bobby Hurley on the drive. Was very positive that he could take him inside. Nobody came from the weak side to help out.
Indiana's made 8 of its first 10 shots.
And probably the people on the West Coast are saying what else is new the way they played in the regional.
Leitner's coming back in. Cherokee Parks called for the push-off. His first, team foul number 4.
Jim, Indiana so far in the NCAA tournament shooting 56%, holding their opponents to 41. I mean, this has been a torrid shooting pace for this club.
And remember, they had shot 37% right at the end of the regular season.
Right, the last 3 games.
When they lost 2 of those 3.
There's a good backdoor cut. Nice help out by Bob Hurley.
Dober left open, soft roll, and a 5-point lead, Indiana's largest.
Leitner not doing it on either end of the floor. That's 3 baskets have been scored over him, and he hasn't gotten any himself. Nothing there.
Wild shot. Hill follows, though. It's going the other way. Foul against Grant Hill. And there's the first whistle under 12 minutes. So that's an official's timeout. Indiana by 5.
Maybe your first car shouldn't be a car.
I was 18, didn't have a care, working for peanuts.
On a night where Michigan has already advanced to Monday's final with a 76-72 win against Cincinnati, Duke and Indiana in the first half, 11:50 to go. In 1914, Hoosiers with possession.
And there's that motion offense. Crunching screens inside. Anderson, he won't let up.
There's the guy. When you really talk about better shooting in the tournament, you got to start talking about Eric Anderson.
He is now 23 of 32, 73% from the field.
Hurley with his third 3. Hey, Duke is 4 out of 6 from 3-point range and only 2 out of 9 from inside of 3.
And Indiana is 10 out of 13, period. How about 11 out of 14?
How about a 3-pointer for Cheney and a 7-point lead?
And Duke has got to figure out a way to get Leitner untracked offensively. Here he's got it where he wants it.
Leitner at last. His first 2.
That can put the pressure to open up the outside for Duke, but they've got to get the ball down to Christian Leitner.
Leitner reached in, yeah. His first, number 6 against Duke.
What's really interesting, Mike Krzyzewski up on the sidelines is screaming at the referees, watch the screening. Kind of amazing. What would you expect to be watching if you're playing Indiana? We talked about that early. A defensive nightmare.
Cheney and Anderson go out. Henderson comes back in, along with Bailey. Hurley this time called for it, and that puts Indiana into the 1-1.
Now, Jim, when you start talking about foul line now, both of these teams have the incredible stat. Indiana having made 114 more free throws than their opponents shoot. Duke 180 more. But it's Indiana that gets on that line first.
Indiana, a blistering 85% from the field, including 7 straight. Still running. One more for Meeks. 10-2 advantage in rebounds. Leitner's first rebound.
Again, Nover down in on Leitner. They've got to look for him inside. Just keep pounding it in there.
On the blocks, gets 2 players to commit, missed the short one. Graham slicing through the defense and scoring. Greg Graham.
This is as good an offensive performance as we've seen so far in the tournament because they're getting it from so many different people.
Indiana's made 8 straight from the floor.
See, Nover's playing right behind Leitner, letting him actually handle the ball some.
Two-pointer for Hill as we move under 10 minutes to go in the first half. Indiana by 6.
Oh, good pump fake that time by Meeks. Another solid screen call. Now, Mike Krzyzewski working those referees on the screens. That's the second one he's picked up.
Nover's second, indeed. 3rd team foul.
Jim, some real parallels from this Indiana club and the '87 club that won a national title. They were undefeated at home this year. So was that club. 5 starters in double figures. So was that club. And they've beaten every team in the Big Ten this year. So was that club.
The only thing is Nover now is in the starting lineup.
Well, 5 guys, we'll say.
Yeah, but you almost consider Anderson, since he started all season, as the other starter.
Backdoor cut available for Leitner. Didn't take it. Davis wants to post up Meeks. Duke kind of out of sync. Kind of like Michigan was the first half against Cincinnati. Good help by Bailey.
Stolen away from Hill. And Hurley on a reach-in, his second. And again, they're in the 1-1.
Well, one of the things that Bobby Hurley did, he did a good job getting back to stop penetration, but he had a chance with Graham, who really didn't realize he was there, maybe to go over and draw the charge instead of reaching in for the foul. And the steal.
Greg Graham, who spent his whole summer, 91, working on 2 things, ball handling and outside shooting.
Well, he's the second leading scorer on this club, even though he comes off the bench now. It's Eric Anderson on Christian Leitner in the low post.
Hill on the drive, and a foul on Indiana, a hold.
Excellent move by Thomas Hill to just take off and make his reverse on the catch. Instead of trying to make a pump fake, Graham wasn't quite ready for him.
Graham on the whistle, his first, and number 4 on the Hoosiers.
You're doing a pretty good job with low post defense, only picking up 4 fouls so far, Jim.
Hurley driving. Hurley's having a good half here, Philly. Keeping them in it. They were down 8, now they're down 6. Hurley with 11.
making Leitner work way outside, and Hurley has to be careful about not picking up that third foul on a reach.
Anderson's first miss.
And that was about as well as Duke has defended the total motion offense of Indiana so far in the half.
Eric Anderson's first. Fifth against Indiana. And Chaney back in after a rest. In for Graham.
You know, Jim, Bob Knight has really developed this bench and this rotation. And they come off the bench with, you know, you forgot that they were playing so well, and Chaney, their #1 scorer, sat there for about 3 or 4 minutes.
Reynolds in for Meeks. And Antonio Lang has come in for Bobby Hurley. Bobby Hurley, Billy, last year at the Final Four, never got a rest. He played all 80 minutes.
Well, played 45 minutes against Kentucky the other night.
Hill leaning. Good box out by Chaney.
Well, Hill had the shot he wanted. He'll pull up and take the jumper.
Duke basketball. Timeout under 8 minutes. Indiana 29. The national champs of 91-23. Final Four. Fred Couples and Blaine McAllister, a 4-time winner on the tour.
Hey, Jim, they may be able to play, but they'd be lousy caddies. I mean, we've asked them for a Coke. They never move. They sit over and watch the games.
They both have those headsets on. I think they want to come in here and call the rest of the game. I used to rehearse with them back at Taub Hall at Houston.
Well, Indiana is playing, and you talk about a scouting report, Jim. What they're doing is saying, don't side Leitner, don't get in front of him, play right behind him and make him make his move. So that means he should be able to catch the ball in there, but he's having a hard time scoring once he gets it.
Grant Hill now with 4 to cut the lead to 4. Indiana lead of 4.
It's the best defense Duke has played.
Ooh, Anderson almost got away from him.
Down to 13.
Bailey bounces it into Chaney. Hold first on Davis.
Sensational play on the inside. Brian Davis was playing good defense on Chaney, but Chaney just sealed him with his body. And Damon Bailey made the excellent entry pass.
Yeah, he bounced it inside right off the dribble. Second on Davis and team foul number 9. So a 1-and-1, and every foul thereafter will be a 2-shot situation.
And as we had in the first game, 2 teams that did not shoot well from the free throw line. Both of these clubs extremely accurate. Indiana all the way up there to 73% team average. Now watch that low post defense on Leitner. See how Anderson's right behind him? I'm surprised that Duke isn't feeding him the ball down low. Now, they're not guarding Antonio Lang at all.
Hill stripped away what he was going up for it.
Damon Bailey got a piece.
3-pointer.
And that was Calvert Chaney coming over the top. Probably not the shot that Bob Knight would have wanted out of Anderson. A little bit rushed.
First against Chaney, number 6 against Indiana. Duke will go to the 1-and-1 after the next Indiana foul.
And Jim, we can see on the defensive set now what Knight's game plan is with Leitner. Play behind him, and in the case when Lang's in the game, don't guard Lang. Nice shot.
Short on the shot.
Yep. Good.
Leitner got a hand on it.
Great hands by Leitner and a good look by Bailey.
Indiana has not hit a shot from the floor in a little over 4 minutes.
Now what helps them is that they're on that foul line and will be shooting from 2 the rest of the way. Normally something Duke does to its opponent. Duke goes to a 2-3 zone. First time they went zone in the half. You've got Henderson, Cheney, Bailey, all can shoot inside there.
Cheney went up to tip it in, and I think they had him over the back for his second, and number 7 against Indiana.
And that was the second going over the back foul by Cheney.
Two quick ones.
You know,
two in a row.
You look at that Indiana team, they've got 3 Big Ten freshmen of the year, Bailey, Cheney, and Anderson, all on the floor right now. Pretty good makeup of a ball club.
Brian Davis back in for Duke.
So now Indiana will have to play Leitner a little bit more honestly. Because they can't lay off Davis, he'll make the jump shot.
So Leitner, 1 week after those Bo Derek numbers, 10 for 10 from the field, 10 for 10 from the line. 1 for 6 from the floor today. And 0 for 1 from the line, missing the front end.
And that was the first, he's out of his last 34 free throws, he made 33. So, and here you see the 2-3 zone. Duke kind of matching up out of it.
He had 20 straight, Billy, before that miss. 20 straight makes from the line.
Now what this zone does is take away some of those screening opportunities that Indiana had down low.
Bailey fakes, commits, gets it under to Cheney, and it's off Duke.
Excellent block by Grant Hill from behind.
Greg Graham back in for the Hoosiers.
You know, it's kind of interesting. We talk about teacher and pupil. You know, Bob Knight, not a disciple of the zone. Mike Krzyzewski doing his own thing, going to play some zone.
Under 10 on the shot clock once they inbound. Baseliner for Anderson. Hill jumped too soon.
He did, and Damon Bailey stayed right on the ground.
Hill slaps it out.
Well, Grant Hill's getting a piece of everything they put up.
Indiana's missed its last 6 shots from the floor.
They still find themselves up by 6 points. Pretty good to go into a drought like that and still be up 6.
Good move, Bailey. Penetrating.
Excellent penetrating against the zone. They're not doing it with the passing of the screen, so they put the ball on the floor. Leitner really clearing out with his hands inside. How about the basket? John Clarkley said before. Fouled before in the act of shooting. We're going to see Bailey split the 2-3 zone with the dribble. Nobody comes over to pick him up. Excellent play by Damon Bailey. You can see him splitting the zone. You know, a lot of people used to say in the old days you shouldn't dribble against the zone, but it's one of the most effective weapons there is.
He commits the foul at the other end, his first, and Leitner will shoot a 1-and-1. Just seen his streak of 20 straight snap a moment ago. Oh, about that. Yeah.
You know, it seems like the IU fans are starting to ride him a little bit. He will meet that challenge. Second time against the zone.
Chris Reynolds, and a 10-point lead, only the second time this year that Duke trailed by double digits. The other time was at Clemson, and they came back to win that game.
Great steal.
Reynolds.
He's kicking the ball, no call.
Ties it up, and it's Indiana on the arrow. Officials timeout. Indiana by 10.
Forget about one size fits all as a marketing strategy. Today you have to make each customer feel unique.
At AT&T, we have a range of calling plans that match the way small companies do business.
In 1978, I created my first racing wheelchair. Today, I make them for people all over the world. Probably 99% of my business is done long distance.
AT&T created Pro Watts for businesses that depend on long distance. The more you call, the higher the discount.
We're based in Oakland, but we do a lot of business with LA and Seattle.
AT&T Small Business Option Area Code Plan gives an automatic 10% discount on the 1 or 2 area codes they call most.
We sell toys from all over the world.
Hurley at the line for 2.
short. Oh, he got a good roll. Bobby Hurley dancing all over that foul line.
Steve Fisher, by the way, will be joining Pat and Mike at halftime. Two generous bounces for Hurley and Davis.
It's been a bloodletting so far this half, and Davis has the proof of it right on his shirt.
The two top assist men in Duke history talking on the bench, Hurley and Tommy Amaker, who closed his career, by the way, in that loss to Indiana in '87 in the tournament. Bailey put it up too high off the glass. Davis racing to Hill.
Oh, no call.
No call at all.
Wow, I've heard there had to be contact call one way or the other on that one.
Anderson. Leitner rips it down for Duke. 30 seconds to go in the half.
Well, I keep my clock straight on this one, Jim. It's no shot, nothing on the shot clock, and here's the play we talked about Duke being so tough at. Oh, and he hits it.
Thomas Hill put him on the line for one more. Damon Bailey's second personal.
And normally Duke will work that down to somewhere inside 10 seconds. That time Thomas Hill probably shocked the scouting report of Bob Knight by going for the shot earlier.
And there's a look at Marty Clark, sophomore from Westchester, Illinois, in for Davis with 19 seconds to go in the first half.
Thomas Hill.
77% free throw shooter.
Duke is on a 10-3 run to cut a 12-point margin to 5 as we see Reynolds come in for Anderson.
Jim, kind of the opposite of what has happened to Duke in earlier tournament games where Iowa made the big run on them, Kentucky made the big run on them. Duke turning the tables a little bit here.
Under 10 to go in the half. Reynolds blocked by Hill.
Oh, it's off Meeks' face. Yep. Good hands by Leitner.
But Meeks saved a possible break opportunity for Duke. It would have been a 3-on-1. He reached in and at least got a piece of it.
Now here you have 3.2 seconds. Hurley comes back into the game.
Anderson back in also.
Set play here by Duke.
Well, look
they ought
at
to be pros at this, huh?
Look at this combination. Hill. Will it be Leitner time again? Nope. Let's go with Hurley. Hurley.
Tough shot. Good defense by Bailey.
The lead had been 12. It's 5 at the half. With the score, Indiana 42, Duke 37. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local state.
That beat him was UCLA. Bill Walton the next night had that great night against Memphis State. Bob Knight coming back out on the floor. When you look at this game, and I agree with some of the things that Mike said, if not all of the things that he said, and the fact that when you look down at the stat sheet, you say, how in the world is Indiana not up by more points? They're shooting 59%, the Duke's 48, 21 rebounds to 9. So far, Leitner has not really come to the front as he normally does in a game like this, and here you see Leitner 1 for 6. But this young man, throughout his career, has had some of his biggest games in the biggest moments. This year against St. John's with a 26-point night. The great game with Alonzo Mourning that he had. The 2 outstanding games with Shaquille O'Neal. And, of course, the great game the other night against Kentucky. So you have to assume that he's going to explode sooner or later. Over starts the second half against Leitner. Tony Lang won the ball. He was wide open.
Both teams back to their starting lineups. And Leitner misses the lay-in.
That was Henderson again.
Ball on the floor. Bailey trying to secure it. Davis has it and bounced out of bounds by Chaney. Duke basketball.
Now, Thomas Hill is hurt, Jim. You can see him down on the floor. I think it was Bailey's sneaker that got him in the groin, and he's probably going to have to come out. But you know, it was Alan Henderson again. Nover playing position defense. Henderson coming over to help out. Good hands here by Thomas Hill. You can see he gets hit rather severely there. Bailey stays on the floor moving around with the ball, and he just can't get it. Calvert Chaney is eventually going to be the guy that tips this ball on the way out of bounds. No lack of effort on the part of any player there. Jim, that was an excellent dump down pass by Bobby Hurley to Christian Leitner on the inside. Leitner just not able to finish yet today, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact of the way he's being played by Indiana, with a man right on his back at all times.
Here's tomorrow's lineup on CBS Sports Sunday. The NCAA women's or men's swimming and diving, and then the women's Final Four will finish our day 4 o'clock. Don't forget the CBS Sports special either. The Eye of the Tigers, a season in Shaq's house, a season with LSU. Grant Hill has come in for Thomas Hill, and here he is driving baseline and missing the lay-in.
Good block out on the inside. Duke can't get anything inside the fall. Nover wide open. Leitner asked for some help.
Chaney, no, they take it away. Oh, wait a minute.
Now I guess they're gonna call it a charge. Very similar to the opening basket of the game, where Hill went baseline, picked up a quick charge.
No basket, and for Chaney, his third.
Bob Knight doesn't realize that yet. By the time he gets back to the bench, he'll realize it.
Lang.
Now, see, there is what Christian Leitner needs to do. If Indiana's going to play right behind the low post man, take that little turn jump shot or the half hook. Duke calling a lot of switches now on this screening. Look for Indiana to screen and then go back door. There it is.
Oh, Nover could have had a layup. Hurley ahead. Hill was bumped by Bailey, and uh-oh. Grant Hill landed on his right knee.
Grant Hill really did a smart thing there, Jim, and the fact that he realized the pass was going to be long. There's his dad, Calvin Hill, but what Grant did is use his body to keep the defender from getting near him. He's really hurting right now. He's got to run that one off.
Third on Bailey.
So that's Chaney and Bailey both with 3. You can see that Grant Hill used his body instead of going for the ball.
Leitner wants to challenge Nover.
Oh, is that going to... Hey, that's...
Outside.
That's Bailey's 4th.
Bailey with his 4th.
Christian Leitner was able to split the defense. Now Bailey picks up his 4th. Chaney with 3. Bob Knight not making a move on the bench with either one of them. And his assistant coaches are giving him the signal. He's got to get him out of there.
Greg Graham is taking the warm-ups off. He'll be coming in on the next dead ball. Grant Hill. This Reynolds has great quickness. Over to Bailey. Shot block. Give it to Grant Hill.
That's good. What's the holdup? Is it a Bobby Knight technical? Yes, it is.
Technical on Knight, indeed.
Now think about that one. Duke had the numbers for the fast break opportunity. He gets the tee. It'll be 2 shots and the ball out of bounds. But Duke was on their way for a pretty good fast break opportunity.
Ted Valentine called it the technical, and Hurley will shoot 2, and Duke will have possession at midcourt.
Hurley stayed on the line a lot more solid than he did the last time up there.
Go back to the last minute of the first half, and Duke has scored now 9 unanswered.
Now, Jim, when Mike Krzyzewski went to that 2-3 zone in the first half, he settled his club down, and that's when they started to make that turnaround. What a screen!
Took Reynolds out. Duke can take the lead, and Hill does it.
Grant Hill not favoring that knee any on that play. They've stepped it up a notch now with intensity.
A 16-3 run. Cheney rejected by Leitner. And off Cheney.
They have called on some courage, and the defending champs are showing what they're made of here. Now's the time to let Leitner touch it down low. Here he is.
Working on Henderson. Draws the foul. And no signal.
That's going to be on Henderson, I believe. And Bob Knight's got to be thinking timeout here.
Count the basket.
Sure, you got to count it. Remember what I said Antonio Lang did, and maybe Leitner saw something in Lang's move. When they're going to play behind you like this, stop trying to power it to the basket because they're going to be waiting on you. The little turnaround jumper will work, or the half hook, and that's what Leitner used right there. That's Leitner's third miss of the game, Jim. Timeout Knight.
Indiana timeout.
And he better be careful with this official right now. He's going to get right in his ear. John Clockety does a wise thing, goes over there and calls him down.
You know, there's real magic in Diet Pepsi.
Sitting for the first time while we were away in that commercial, he was still giving the officials more than an earful.
Well, Jim, he better be careful right now. You've got three very talented officials on the floor. They're not going to listen to much more of his gruff. Good defense. Again in a play over to Nover.
Leitner.
Now nothing falling for Indiana on the inside.
Leitner really wants it now. Wanting to challenge Nover.
And Wisely does not.
Hurley.
And he was shooting that ball over Alan Henderson, the best shot blocker on the Indiana team. Not accustomed to playing that far away from the basket, but still a good shot blocker.
Hurley with 21. Cheney short. Again, it's Leitner. Here comes Duke.
They got 3-on-2 with Lang on the side. Yep. Charge. And Lang hit his tailbone on that one.
No basket. Lang called for the charge.
Now this is just good fundamental defense. Bobby Hurley pulls up. Mike Krzyzewski doesn't like the call. But they've been consistent because they've been calling that a charge the entire game. That's all you can ask from an official.
Grant Hill was hurt, Billy, and he's on the bench right now getting some help.
Boy, the defense that Duke is showing now is the thing that I haven't seen out of them since February. Yeah, they're playing at a different level right now. It's time to get Leitner down in the under the basket. He's ready to go with Eric Anderson.
Thomas Hill.
Short.
Here are the numbers now for Indiana.
Oh, what a steal. Leitner's wide open. Hurley can't get him the ball. It's time now, Jim, and Duke is wisely doing this. A great call by Mike Krzyzewski. Hold it up, get their breath again, and start attacking inside.
Davis to the line for two. Indiana has not scored in the second half. Missed all 5 of their shots from the floor. Cherokee Parks comes into the Duke huddle.
He's got some blood on his shirt too, Jim. So now it's Davis and Hill. This is hard to believe, isn't it? And at that point in the game is when Mike Krzyzewski went 2-3 zone just for a few minutes and changed the style of play completely.
Coach K, don't call us the defending champs. We're not defending anything. We won it in '91. This is a different team.
A different team that he put to the test the entire year. A tough schedule on the road. It's been part of his persona to do this to his ball club.
It's now a 22-3 run by the Devils. Their largest lead.
Similar to that run that Ohio State made on them
on
in
Indiana.
Bloomington.
Yeah. But Indiana came back to win that game.
Yes, they did.
After a 26-2 run by Ohio State.
On a key three-point jump shot.
Cheney. Cheney on a follow. They're going the other way.
Offensive foul. Brian Davis getting in the way. Knight can't believe it. But the officials this entire game, and talking about consistency again, have called that a charge on both ends of the floor.
Billy, that's now 4 on Cheney, 4 on Damon Bailey.
Well, and Bailey's loss really hurts Knight being out on the floor because he was the one that was doing such a good job getting them into their offense.
Report from the Duke bench is that Grant Hill has bruised his knee.
Well, he's back in the game now, Jim.
But he is in there. Knee twice now in his half. He's been bothered by it. Oh, Davis missing it all.
I think Duke is making a mistake the last couple of possessions down the floor. They're not letting Leitner touch the ball down low. And I think he's ready to start putting something away.
Davis with the steal.
That's a foul on Reynolds.
And Davis took a shot to the nose.
Well, the other day, Antonio Lang took a shot in the eye from Meeks.
He's got stitches over over the eyebrow.
There's some guys there's a lot of effort being put on this floor now by both teams.
Meeks comes in for Cheney. Cheney with the 4 fouls sits. Monday night, Michigan will play the winner of this game. Michigan and Duke this year on December the 14th played an overtime game that was talked about all season long. Michigan and Indiana split on the season.
And of course, Michigan and Indiana in '76 played against each other for the national championship. First time two teams in the same conference ever did that, with Indiana coming out victorious and ending an undefeated season.
Cheney and Bailey both with 4 fouls.
And both who were the guys that were responsible for that comfortable lead at one time for Indiana in the first half. Double figures.
1-1. 23-3 run, but I should say 18 unanswered. 18 unanswered.
Jim, I think the one that shocks me more than anything is that number 42 up on the scoreboard. It's been there for what seems like ever.
Seems like an hour. That was what they had at halftime, so.
It has almost been an hour. Oh, tough shot.
Rebound to Hill. The breaking Blue Devils. Hill.
Now wait, let's see. No, that one called it one way, one called it the other. Yes, this is going to be interesting. Oh, wait a minute.
You thought Flaherty had it the other way.
I sure did. I think he changed his signal. Now, as I said before, they've been calling it charging all day long. Players have got to realize that. I think that the contact was initiated that time by Reynolds, got by with one. But Knight shouldn't be arguing with that for the simple reason the refs have done a consistent job calling a charge every time.
That's the second on Grant Hill.
Really took away a good opportunity. 3-on-1 break. Supposed to convert those.
Greg Graham, 3-pointer.
Tim, the comeback by Ohio State was stymied by a jump shot 3-pointer by Graham.
In that one, Ohio State had gotten to a 5-point lead on that 26-2 run. Duke had it up to 8. Hill. Lang keeps it alive, but Meeks chases it down.
Not the pass you want if you're Indiana. Trying to make a solid comeback. Bob Knight wants that possession of the ball and make Duke work on defense.
Damon Bailey went after the Final Four long jump record. Went over 3 rows of photographers. Chris Reynolds back in for Indiana. And Meeks is out.
Now, he does not want that kind of pass. Again, I'm going to go back to the fact that I'm beating a dead horse here. It's time for Leitner to touch it inside. Duke has given up a lot of easy possessions here.
Lang slipped out of his hands, and
that was Alan Henderson again with solid defense. I'm surprised the Duke bench doesn't tell them that Leitner has got to touch it.
Bailey working on Hill.
A lot of guys tired right now. This has been a real war for 10 minutes.
Posting at Graham. Graham called with the body, his third.
Great
team foul number 8.
Great patience by Thomas Hill in the low post, not to put it up too quick.
Jim Nance and Billy Packer, Super Saturday at the Metrodome. National semifinals, the winner will play Michigan. Duke trailed by as many as 12 points in the first half. Now with a 5-point lead, and Thomas Hill at the line shooting a 1-and-1.
Second half, we see Duke getting to that foul line often and early. You look up on the scoreboard, and Duke has only committed 2 fouls. So now they're getting the balance going their way.
Nover in for Indiana.
Cherokee Parks played very aggressively in a short stint in the first half, and that was a huge rebound.
That was Cherokee Parks. Had a couple of moments shining in the first half, and that one there. Minutes to go. Duke leads by 8.
Every pass is contested now.
Graham spinning and almost losing control of it, but a foul called on Duke.
Grant Hill made the reach on the spin dribble.
That's his third, and an official's timeout with 11:51 to go.
For Michigan enjoying this second game and resting up for their game. You know, 3 years ago, Indiana had the Super 7. It was Chris Reynolds, Todd Leary, Pat Graham, Gray Graham, Lawrence Funderburk, Calvin Chaney, and Chris Lawson. That was supposed to be a great freshman recruiting class, and it was. Chris Lawson no longer with the club, nor Funderburk.
Lawson, in fact, transferred to Vanderbilt, had to sit out this year. Kind of interesting, Lawson sitting out for Vanderbilt, and Billy McCaffrey, who played last year at Duke, transferred to Vanderbilt. So those two could have been in this game. Sitting out the year, however, for Vandy.
Good quickness that time by Hill, and a nice battle by Parks inside with Nover to keep him occupied.
Get it into Leitner. Dumps it off to Parks. Hill underneath. Boy, did he put it back up quickly.
Well, Nover is so much occupied with Leitner, he didn't get over to help out. Tough shot.
Yep.
Tough shot.
Last touch by Leitner. Let's get a report from Leslie Visser.
Jim Nance, Brian Davis has sprained his left ankle. They haven't taped it yet because he wants to try to go back in if they need him. So far, he just took a couple of aspirin.
Jim, you know, I talk about on the other end of the floor, Christian Leitner. His last shot was at the 17:28 mark, so he has not had the ball to shoot for almost 7 minutes. Not a good move by Duke.
Henderson.
Charge again.
Offensive again, yep.
Can you believe that? 59% in one half, 9 in the other.
1 of 11 is what that is. And Anderson comes in for Henderson. You've got Bailey and Cheney on the court for Indiana with 4 fouls each. Hill gives it up. And a foul. And that's it for Bailey.
Bailey fouls out, and Cherokee Parks moves up to the big time. Boy, 3 things went wrong that time on that play for Bob Knight. Number 1, Damon Bailey, one of his key players, fouls out. Number 2, 2 points are scored and a foul. And number 3, Cherokee Parks has to gain a lot of confidence with that play.
He'll shoot 1.
Remember, this young man, Jim, did not play in the Michigan game.
3-point play. Bailey out. He is fouled out. Cherokee Parks keeps playing like this. You can give Cherokee a reservation for Monday night against Michigan.
I liked it. Where do you come up with these? You know,
I've got nothing better to
Jimmy,
do.
wait a second. Freddie Couples even turned on that one and said, "Get you
liked
out."
it.
No, he said,
He
"Get him
liked it.
out of here," and I agree. He liked it. That came off the top of the head.
That's the 3rd on Thomas Hill.
Boy, this defensive intensity just making every pass so tough to throw. Screen by Anderson. But a switch by Hurley.
Reynolds stopped his dribble, in trouble. Now over to Cheney.
It's just a gut check by Mike Krzyzewski and his team.
Under 10 minutes to go in the game. Indiana has scored 3 points in the half. Make it 5. That's a 2 for Cheney.
Leitner walking up the court, trying to get a breather. Brian Davis getting ready to come back in, test that ankle out. Hurley.
Look at Hill. Grant Hill.
He has been awesome on the offensive boards in his second half.
Another putback for Hill. He has 10 points.
Boy, Cheney almost threw that ball back court. There's Grant Hill again. And he's looking for a breather. He's asking to come out.
Davis back, trying to loosen up that ankle. And Antonio Langen for Cherokee Parks, Grant Hill.
Cherokee Parks gets a well-deserved hand. Much like Bosco came off the bench for Michigan in the first game to play a great second half.
Nover. Good inbounds play for Indiana.
Anybody kind of fell asleep?
Thomas Hill will bring it up. Passes at the last second to Davis. 8:20 to go in the game.
And here comes that double low again. Oh, we called a foul on Reynolds inside as Davis tried to post up.
Second on Reynolds, and the 10th against Indiana. Double bonus time. Put Duke on the line for 2.
Jim, what a change of events we've had in this game. In the first half, points in the paint, Indiana 24, Duke 10. In the second half, Duke 14, Indiana 0. And they just got the 2 on the inside on that inbounds pass, so let's make that 14-2. And that didn't really come off the offense.
Brian Davis, he'll shoot one more. Brian worked on Wall Street last summer for Morgan Stanley down on the floor. He's kind of intrigued by the financial world. I said, "Do you have a stock tip for this weekend?" And he said, "Yeah, Duke Power." Always a quality utility stuff.
Now it's time for Indiana, if they're going to make the run, to get something off their offense. They're lined up in pairs, get the good screening inside to score.
Cheney,
well executed.
Yep, Cheney set himself up down on the blocks. He has 11. The lead is 9. Duke by 9.
And again, Christian Laettner has been awful quiet.
Hurley. Oh, all of those threes have been so pure, just ripping the nets.
That's his 24th point. He was the savior in the first half for Duke, even kept him in the game.
Cheney, short on the baseliner.
Hurley's dangerous in the open court. What he's trying to do is give Laettner a break and get a little rest. Cheney's going to have to go out and play Davis, so Davis will just hold the ball. Such a smart play by Hurley. Looked at the official's call. Short. Thomas Hill anticipated some body contact there.
Reynolds ahead to Cheney. Oh, he fumbled it out of bounds. Last touch by Duke. It's an official's timeout. We'll be right back to the Metrodome as the Devils lead by 12. Second half, Duke 26-9, outscoring Indiana in the half.
And of course, we see Hurley having the big game, particularly with three-point shots. There's Davis out. He really limped coming down the floor, and that last time they immediately took him out. Now the trainer working on with a big ice pack on the ankle. It doesn't look like he can come back in.
It might be tough if Duke wins to get back for Monday. Here's Graham. Greg Graham bangs it home.
I would not be surprised in this situation to see Mike Krzyzewski start using the clock a little bit more. Knowing that he cannot go to Davis, he's going to basically have to play the rest of the way with this 5. And Laettner has not scored now in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Hadn't even taken a shot during that period of time.
Hurley with 6 on the shot clock, draws the foul. Report time from Leslie Visser.
Jim, during the last time out, Brian Davis had his left ankle iced in tape. They don't know how severe it is, but he will not play again. Jim?
In this game.
He is a senior. And no, should they get there Monday night?
That was Greg Graham's 4th foul. Bailey is already out with 5. Graham, a very important perimeter shooter for the IU team, so they'd be in tough shape in that regard.
That attempt from the line by Hurley was Duke's 1,000th free throw of the season.
Laettner kept it alive for Lang. And they call Lang for the foul.
His 3rd. Duke now with 1,001 free throws on the season. Their opponents have not even attempted 600.
And when you look up there on the scoreboard, Duke has only committed 5 fouls this half, plus playing his great defense.
Greg Graham hits again. Comes out of the timeout with a couple of field goals. He has 13 right on his average.
That's why it's so important with Bailey out of there to keep Graham from picking up his 5th.
Laettner brings it back out as we near the 5-minute mark to go. Hurley on the dish to Lang.
Now Indiana's putting the defensive pressure up, and Duke again ignores Christian Laettner. Indiana getting some confidence here, Jim. They'd like to get the ball in Calvert Cheney's hands.
They got him open. Well, He'll take the three. Right over Grant Hill. Tapped out by Eric Anderson. Good play.
I think Duke's a little tired, don't you?
They showed it right there. They were flat-footed on the rebound.
They had, when they made their great run defensively, they were just quicker to the ball. Now they're a little flat-footed.
Henderson looking for that baseline for a moment. Graham. Short. Grant Hill.
And Leitner cannot even get up the floor. He's just walking on the floor. This is a tired ball club. The effort that it took to get back into the lead took a lot out of them.
Lang got poked in the eye.
He's having a hard time with the eyes this week.
Under 4 minutes to go. The last officials timeout of the game. Duke by 8 with the basketball. Locker room. This is a live picture of co-captain Brian Davis being helped to the locker room with a sprained ankle.
Jim, this is not a real deep team in terms of minutes played by the bench, so it would really hurt Duke University if Davis was unable to play.
Bang.
Leitner over everybody.
Henderson comes right down on him. Here's how Brian Davis sprained an ankle.
You can see he gets it twisted underneath Reynolds in a lot of pain, and he stayed on the floor and continued to play, but he was really in some pain. Jim, is this some stat? Christian Leitner last took a shot with 17:28 to go in this half.
That was the 4th foul on Henderson. So Chaney has 4. Henderson has 4. Bailey has fouled out. Greg Graham has 4. Mother Bonnie in a soft cast after having neck operation, a degenerative disc in her neck.
There's Duke showing me something coming right out front at midcourt area to play hard-nosed defense. Mike Krzyzewski's just getting him to suck it up here.
This will send Henderson to the line.
Jim, that was a statement by Duke.
Fourth on Grant Hill, and coming up after this game finishes, we'll hear from the winners and losers. Story on Shaquille O'Neal. Viewpoints from Digger Phelps and Bill Walton about Monday night.
Well, we mentioned Bill Walton, 1973, the great tournament that he had. Knocked Bob Knight out of the NCAA tournament. Other than that, he gets to the Final Four. He normally wins. Always wins other than that one, and here he finds himself tonight kind of behind the 8 ball.
Those were Henderson's first points of the second half. And Indiana calls a timeout. And those were the first free throws of the second half for the Hoosiers. We'll be right back. Ready reserved for Monday night will face the winner of this one. Tip time on Monday will be 9:22 Eastern.
This kind of surprised Duke a little bit. A full court press by Indiana.
Grant Hill saw it and called a timeout. That leaves Duke with 2. Indiana has 1. Let's take you around the Metrodome. Indiana with 1 timeout to go. Duke has 2. The arrow belongs to the Hoosiers, who are going to pick it up again. Full court pressure on Duke. Duke with an 8-point lead, Billy.
Good strategy by Bob Knight to pick up. You know, he breaks the game into 2 parts. One is playing basketball, the other one's shooting. The first half, we know what they did. They shot 59%. He always says you can't always overcome bad shooting, but sometimes good shooting overcomes errors in play. And in this second half, they've made some misjudged errors in their play. Some of the passes have not been there, and obviously their shooting has dropped down to 33%. That's why there is the turnaround in this game. Duke now ready for the full court pressure situation. Leitner comes back to meet the ball. Talbert Cheney with 4 playing Grant Hill, who will probably occupy the ball along with Hurley for much of the remainder of the game for Duke.
Under 3 minutes.
And there's a switch has been done, and now they're going to probably switch back. It is, so Reynolds can get back on Hurley. Leitner got by with some exciting dribbling there.
Hurley on the drive, in and out, tipped in by Grant Hill.
Grant Hill on the offensive boards in the second half. He now has 12 points, but he has just been all over it. Lang now on Cheney.
Loading 3 is Graham. Now with 15.
And that was the good movement by Indiana. No switch by Duke, and just a pickoff.
Meeks, his second. Grant Hill has had, well, this is at least 3 putbacks in the second half.
Jimmy, you can see no block out there whatsoever. Grant Hill times it perfectly, and the fact instead of going up on that rim and touching the ball while it was in the cylinder, he waited. Smart play.
Gave it the final nudge right over the rim, and he'll shoot 2.
Duke, normally a good free throw shooting team, been a little cold here.
This is the one area where Grant Hill really improved over his freshman year. 60% as a freshman from the line. This year, 9th in the ACC, 74%, but he misses both of these.
Good ball face by Henderson. That's a charge. That's a charge.
They called it, like you said, Billy, all day long.
You cannot... Again, I think this game has probably been as well officiated, Jim, as any game of this stature I've ever seen. And the reason for it is, on every occasion, the referees were consistent on that call.
That is number 5 on Alan Henderson. Young man who was not only recruited by Stanford, but there he is, Duke as well. And on his visit a year and a half ago to Duke, Antonio Lang and Grant Hill showed him around right before the start of their freshman season. But he opted to go with Bobby Knight, and he fouled out, had a big first half, 11 in the first half, 15 overall. They counted the basket, Billy. Now they scored the basket, charged him with his 5th personal.
And you know, Bob Knight, talking to him there, I could read his lips, talking about the block-out situation on the other end of the floor against Grant Hill. Constantly the teacher. He says, I'd rather them call me a teacher than a coach.
Eric Anderson has come in. That time they score the basket. Hill, after a moment ago missing 2 free throws. This time, all-time roll. Makes both of them.
Indiana's got to be thinking 3. You got to be thinking Graham here and Cheney of the men that are on the floor. There's one.
Graham, and he'll shoot 3.
No, he'll shoot 3. Foul.
He'll shoot 3 as Grant Hill hit him in the act of shooting. And that's 5 for Grant Hill.
Now, Mike Krzyzewski loses 2 things on that play. Hill is actually 3. He loses Grant Hill, 3 foul shots for Indiana. It stops the clock, and with Grant Hill going out, who comes into the ball game? Parks has played extremely well, but he'd like a better ball handler in the game. Because that's going to leave everything on Hurley and Thomas Hill. Grant shaking hands to everybody.
And Mr. and Mrs. Calvin Hill. Marty Clark is the man chosen by Krzyzewski.
Tough assignment for that young man to come in right now and play, and he knows he's going to be called upon to handle that ball some. Not a good foul by Grant Hill. You've got the guy out there. You've got to let him take that shot.
3 shots for Graham. Now Cherokee Parks bounces off the bench, and Lang will rest. So you've got Parks and Leitner, the 2 6'11" guys inside for Duke.
Jim, we're going to see some more pressure, particularly on made free throws for Indiana. Do what they did the last time down the floor. Match up, probably not guard the man taking the ball out of bounds, and try to catch a cutter. Graham's got the good stroke.
This could bring Indiana within 5. 69-64 Duke.
See, nobody guarding the man taking the ball out of bounds. Good quick maneuver by Duke.
They double up Hurley, and Reynolds steals it.
Cheney again. They're looking for Cheney or Graham.
Cheney was calling for it. Spinning, no foul, and Marty Clark, just under the game, gets the rebound.
Cheney lost the handle as he made the cut on the baseline. That's what necessitated that shot. The dribble caught him, and he didn't have a clear path to the basket. You see the steal. Hurley gets double teamed. Goes down on the floor. Excellent play by Indiana on defense.
Graham elected to take that 3. He could have brought him within 2, but Graham later commits his 5th personal. He is fouled out, Billy.
You see how Cheney got the ball hit. Excellent play by Leitner from the back. Graham out of there, that takes away another one of their 3-point threats. 18 points. It's been outstanding in the NCAA tournament, coming off of that bench as a scorer.
So Bailey and Henderson and Graham have all fouled out. Indiana, with not a very deep roster, has brought on Todd Leary, a former walk-on in a red shirt a year ago. 2 for Marty Clark.
Boy, it is so tough. Here's Leary. It's so tough to come off of that bench without having the good sweat and make these key free throws. Graham had the big game against Florida State with the 19 points and 7 rebounds.
This is a kid right here who went to Isaiah Thomas's high school, St. Joseph High School in Illinois.
Big 2 there.
7-point Duke advantage. Reynolds racing right through, and Hill saves it for Duke.
And the key for Hurley here is the clock, not the key is the clock, not additional points, and he wisely goes and tries to break the trap.
Cheney, is it on Cheney? That's his 5th, and now 4 Hoosiers have fouled out.
Now, Jim, probably some of the people in the Big Ten saying it's about time to see Indiana in some foul trouble. It's one of the reasons that they have been so successful over the years, putting their opponent into foul trouble. Now they have, what, 3 men that have fouled out? 4. Bailey with the early foul out really got in trouble.
Henderson, Bailey, Graham, and now Cheney. So they're really down to 6 players. They only dressed 10. Hurley.
I give a lot of credit to this young man right here. Cheney played an outstanding game, and the man on the foul line, Bobby Hurley, kept Duke in the game in the first half with his gutty play and good outside shooting. He's doing it again.
Hurley has just tied his career high 26 that he set against Michigan and Maryland this year.
There was a case where Anderson knew what he wanted to do when he had Leitner up in the air to go ahead and try to draw the 3.
Leitner's 2nd, and Anderson to the line.
Jim, if I'd have said to you that Christian Leitner would play for Duke in a key game like this and not take a shot from the 17-minute mark all the way down to the 1 minute mark. 16 minutes without a shot.
Off Leitner right there, Billy, and it's Indiana basketball. After Anderson missed the front end of a 1-and-1.
They're thinking 3.
Anderson.
Long rebounds.
Yep. Kept alive and off Duke.
Well, now that they're sending 4 men on the boards, Duke may think about going long with a tap out.
Leary.
Nice shot.
Oh,
nice
talk
shot.
about coming off the bench like Marty Clark. How about Todd Leary? Former walk-on with a 3. Cuts it to 6. Thomas Hill is triple teamed and fouled by Reynolds, his 3rd. The only guy on the Indiana roster that has not played, the last guy, is Todd Lindemann. There he is on the right with the elbow pad, 7-foot freshman from Channing, Michigan.
Bob Knight told us the other day he wished he had red-shirted that young man. He thinks he's going to be an outstanding player.
First 7-footer for Bob Knight since Uwe Blab in 1985. I'll tell you, Billy, as you see a couple of the Hoosiers who have fouled out, Graham and Chaney, college basketball fans won't forget that expression on Thomas Hill's face a week ago against Kentucky after Leitner hit the game winner. And Anderson comes out, and right on cue, Lindemann in.
And Jim, when you're talking about that Michigan club, there was only one team, as we pointed out a couple of times today, that they have not beaten this year. And that team, of course, is Duke.
Leary again.
Oh, my goodness, and they want that timeout.
Knight calling for it.
Oh, that could be 2, sure. That should be intentional. They're going to get 2 and the ball.
35 seconds to go, and Leary off the bench with 2 threes has cut it to 5. Knight's upset that his team didn't call the timeout. Doesn't want it now. Wants it after his team makes a basket.
You see the pass inbounds, and without question.
But it was not called intentional.
It wasn't called intentional. Nope. Sure wasn't. I cannot believe that. Neither can Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, the man just goes and tackles him. No intention to go for the ball.
Clark's already hit 2 free throws in the last minutes. Now 3 for 3.
Well, that's really some performance coming off the bench.
How about Leary? Both of these kids, Leary and Clark.
You know, they hadn't been in any action whatsoever. Come off the bench and hit those deep corner jumpers in these key threes.
4 for 4. 4 for 4 for Marty Clark.
Well, they got everything but the ball back had it been called intentional.
Leary, can he do it one more time? Look at this.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey,
this is legendary.
This is Hoosiers. This is the movie coming to life. Where's the music? Cue it up. 4-point lead for Duke. Indiana's called a timeout. Timeout, and Todd Leary has hit 3 threes.
Not guarding the man on the ball, taking the ball out of bounds. Tough to get it in, and they're going to go right after Clark again.
Leary fouls Clark. They only used a second on the clock.
Jim, Clark showing a lot of guts there to go for the ball. I mean, he wants it. He's 4 for 4 from the foul line so far. Let's see what he can do here.
Billy, the coordinating producer of NCAA basketball on CBS is Robert F. Dekas. Today's national semifinal was directed by Robert A. Fishman, and the Final Four show was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of CBS Sports is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. 2 for Clark.
There's a young man that spent a lot of time shooting some foul shots all alone. I've seen him in the Duke gymnasium in the afternoons, even on game days, shooting by himself. Not been quite like this. He's got a few people accompanying him here. That's short. Oh, that's big play there because Mike Krzyzewski wants no fouls. Indiana has a chance to put points on the board without any seconds coming off of the clock.
Third on Leitner. Duke had made, Billy, its last 11 free throws before that miss by Clark.
And today they have outscored Indiana on that foul line 25-10.
It's a 1-and-1 situation for Matt Nover. Cherokee Parks comes in for Duke.
How big are those 3 threes, Jim?
It's given Indiana hope.
9 points from downtown.
1-and-1, Nover. Oh, he'll shoot one more. It's a 4-point game.
And you can expect the press on again.
I remind everybody, Indiana does not have a timeout. They've used them all.
Now, Leitner hollered at Hurley. I think he's going to want Hurley to touch this ball. Yeah.
Oh, he stepped
out of bounds. He sure did.
Stepped on the line. And a timeout called by Duke.
What happened here, Jim, is that Leitner motioned to Hurley on the foul line that he wanted him to come to the ball, and he did, but he came too far.
Timeout, Duke. Hurley, but they ran out of room.
They really did, Jim. Leitner was talking to Hurley and said, come back to the ball when he was on the foul line there, extended. Bob just came too far.
A 3 could tie it.
Clear out that time, looking like going for 2.
Meeks can tie it. Into Lang's arms, and he is fouled by Leary with 13.6 seconds.
Jim, I've been surprised on the out-of-bounds situations that Duke hasn't had Leitner come to the ball and throw the ball high to him, as opposed for Leitner passing the ball inbounds, because 2 things. 1, he can catch the ball up high with those strong hands, and 2, you put him on the foul line, your best free throw shooter. The young man has not had a big second half. Has not taken a shot.
Duke led 73-64 with 55 seconds to go. A 9-point lead. And Indiana actually had a 3-point try to tie it. Now Lang will shoot 2.
Pretty good follow-through on that shot.
And remember, Indiana has no timeouts left, so if they score under 5 seconds to go, Duke won't even have to inbound.
Might be a reason for Duke to go ahead and put a little pressure on the ball out of bounds to force him to take a little bit longer time to get it up court.
Lang hits them both. 5-point lead.
See, there's no pressure on the ball, so they get it up quickly.
Nover.
He hit a 3.
6 seconds to go. They have to inbound it. This could be picked off.
Ball game. Oh, and on the steal, of course, it doesn't count. But in the cards for Indiana, Meeks just threw one up. It bounced around off the rim and went in. This has been some comeback. Great game. It wouldn't have counted. In this particular case, the only thing that could hurt Duke is Parks to put up an air ball. 1/10 of a second left.
Well,
Jim, they still, at this point, could touch the ball down court and tap it in a 1/10 of a second.
Need the all-time prayer. Duke will play Monday night for back-to-back national championships. It's the second straight year at the Final Four. The mentor went against the pupil, and for the second straight year, the pupil won. Last year, it was Roy Williams on this day. Today, Mike Krzyzewski. Duke set a Final Four record for free throw attempts with 42. But Indiana was intrepid in the final minute to come back and actually even have a shot to tie it. With the final score, Duke 81, Indiana 78. We'll return to Minneapolis and to our post-game show on CBS Sports. Coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
They come from China.
So it's Duke and Michigan on Monday night. Mike and Bobby, congratulations. And Coach, first of all, to your star player today who had 26 points, matching a career high, kept your team in the game in the first half. What about the defense in the second half, though, by the Devils, Bobby?
Well, I think we just picked our defense up a notch, and we decided to get in passing lanes and work extremely hard, and that's something we didn't do in the first half.
Mike, that's the second time this year your team's been down by a double-digit margin. Both times you came back to win. What did it take today?
Well, I think Bobby really led us today, and he kept us in the ball game in the first half. Indiana thoroughly outplayed us in the first half, except for him. And then I think everybody, we said at halftime, everybody's got to raise their game up to match his, and I thought we played excellent defense in the second half. And, you know, our bench, Marty Clark, Tony, well, Tony's not a bench player, but Cherokee and Tony hit big free throws. And then Larry for them, wow, I mean, he just hit, it was a great game, but our defense in the second half was sensational.
Mike, one of the things, of course, we all come to expect in big games is Christian Laettner to come to the front. He did not start out this ball game today normally as he does, but in the second half, he did not take a shot from the 17-minute mark on down to the end of the game. What was the reason for that?
Well, I think primarily Indiana's defense. They do the best job of help and recover inside of any team that we've played, and they keep fresh guys in the ball game. Nover, Anderson, and Henderson really played them well. I don't think Christian expected that good a defense, and it knocked them back, and I think they took Christian out of the ball game, and we really could never establish him. That's what made Bobby's performance all the more special.
Your club's a little bit banged up right here.
Yeah, I'm worried about Brian Davis. I think he sprained his ankle pretty bad, and Grant got hit, and hey, but we'll wrap it up and we'll be ready for Monday night.
Mike, I know you tried to shy away from the matchup against Coach Knight, but now that the game is over, tell us now what this win means to you.
Well, first of all, I think as a coach, you have to be happy for your players. And Bobby didn't play for Coach Knight, or Damon Bailey didn't play for me or play with me. So I'm happy for my guys. Certainly there's empathy involved for Coach Knight and his staff. We're really good friends with their staff and the kids on their team. They had a great year. We feel very fortunate to have beaten them, and hopefully we can represent this game well in Monday night's game.
Good luck. Monday night going for back-to-back championships. Who would have thought on December 14th when we all gathered in Ann Arbor that we were actually looking at a preview of the national championship game? Let's go back upstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
All right, James, well done. A class act there indeed. Our Chevrolet players of the game. Greg Graham had 18 points for the Hoosiers tonight. And, of course, Bobby Hurley, a big game, stepped up to the plate, 26 points on the night. And so we're set for Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, Michigan and Duke, the showdown here on CBS. Mike Francesa, how about that one?
Well, no question. Michigan wanted Duke again, Pat. They got him. Brian Davis, his ankle injury, a big key. And back to this Duke game, Bobby Hurley did step up. Laettner did not have a superstar game, obviously well below what we expect from him. But Bobby Hurley had a tremendous game. And their defense to start the second half, 13-0 run by Duke was the key.
We hope you'll all join us now on Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. It'll be Michigan and Duke. When we come back here, we're going to chat with Shaquille O'Neal, who came out to go to the NBA yesterday. Today made that announcement. Bobby Knight. We'll be watching it on TV Monday night. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.